Hey everyone, welcome back to the Mr. Jobs English podcast. We're really happy you're here with us again. I'm Mia, and yes, today we're diving into a profession that many learners always ask about.
And I'm James. It's great to have you with us. We're sitting here with our coffees, ready to talk about another real-life job, real vocabulary, and real everyday English. Today we're focusing on the work of a police officer.
Exactly. And because this is a job people see everywhere in cities, towns, airports, highways, there are so many useful words and expressions related to it. Even if you're not planning to work in law enforcement, this vocabulary appears constantly in movies, TV shows, news, and daily conversations.
Yeah, and trust me, American movies love police officers. Canadians too, but Americans really love an action scene. So today's vocabulary will help you understand all that stuff better.
And we're keeping everything natural and simple, like always. We're not giving a lecture, we're just talking. So let's start with some everyday vocabulary that police officers use at work. We'll bring it into our conversation naturally and explain it the moment it appears, always in simple English.
One of the first words that comes to mind is patrol. A police officer patrols an area. To patrol means to move around a place regularly to make sure everything is safe. In a sentence, police officers patrol neighborhoods to prevent problems.
Yes, and another word is badge. A badge is the metal identification that police officers wear. It shows their name, number, and department. In movies, you always hear, "Show me your badge." That's the badge.
And police officers often carry a radio. This is a communication tool they use to talk to other officers. In simple English, a radio is a small device that lets them send and receive messages quickly.
Something connected to that is dispatch. Dispatch is the team that sends police officers to places. For example, dispatch received a call, or dispatch sent 2 officers to the location. It's basically the communication center.
Good word. I think another everyday one is traffic stop. A traffic stop is when a police officer stops a vehicle to check something. It might be speeding, a broken light, or just a routine check. It's very common in the U.S. and also in Canada.
Yes, and because we're talking about driving situations, another important word is license and registration. Police officers say this during a traffic stop. License is your driver's license, and registration is the document for the car.
And here's a phrase you hear in movies constantly. Pull over. It means move your car to the side of the road and stop. But don't worry, if Mia is driving, she's a very safe driver.
I am. But another piece of everyday vocabulary is report. Police officers write reports after incidents. A report is a written description of what happened. Simple word, but super common.
Something I think many learners forget is how much teamwork police work requires. So another useful word is partner. A police partner is the officer who works with you regularly. It doesn't mean romantic partner, it's your teammate on the job.
And that connects with unit. A unit is a team of police officers who work in the same division or handle the same type of work. For example, the traffic unit, the canine unit, the investigation unit.
Speaking of canine units, K9 is another word you'll hear. K9 means trained police dogs who help officers find missing people, search for objects, and more. And yes, Canadians and Americans both like good dogs.
Absolutely. And a word you hear in news context all the time is witness. A witness is a person who sees something happen. Police officers interview witnesses to understand events.
That brings us to evidence. Evidence is information or objects that help explain what happened. It might be a photo, an object, or a statement from a witness.
And of course, police officers sometimes need to respond to incidents. Respond is important. It means to go to a place after receiving a call or message. For example, officers responded to a call.
And one more foundational word is law. Police officers enforce the law. To enforce means to make sure people follow rules.
So let's bring everything into a tiny natural scenario to help listeners imagine this vocabulary in action. Just a simple moment, nothing dramatic.
Good idea. Picture this. It's early morning, and two police officers are driving together in their patrol car. They're partners. They get a radio call from dispatch about something small, maybe a car parked in the wrong place.
Dispatch gives them the address, the officers respond. They arrive there and talk to a witness, maybe a neighbor who saw the driver leave the vehicle. They take notes and prepare a short report.
While they're there, they do a quick patrol of the area just to make sure everything is calm. Nothing complicated, nothing dangerous, just everyday police work.
This kind of scenario helps learners picture how vocabulary works in real life, instead of just memorizing words. And honestly, most days for officers are like this: regular tasks, communication, reports, helping people.
And sometimes giving directions. Police officers are like walking GPS units.
Yes, especially in downtown areas. And an important part of their job is community work, helping schools, talking to people, supporting local events.
Exactly. In the U.S., for example, police officers often participate in community outreach. That phrase means activities to build good relationships with local residents.
And in Canada, too, schools love having officers visit to talk about safety in a friendly way. It helps kids feel comfortable around them.
Now, let's bring in a bit more vocabulary naturally through an extended practical conversation between us, as if we're reviewing these words while imagining real situations.
Something like, imagine you're a police officer on patrol and suddenly dispatch contacts you through the radio. The word contact here means to communicate with you.
And dispatch might say, "We received a call from a witness reporting a suspicious vehicle." Suspicious means something looks strange or not normal.
The officer drives to the location. Location just means place. Simple but important. When they arrive, they assess the situation. Assess means to check and understand what's happening.
They might ask the witness some questions and then gather evidence if necessary. After that, they write a report describing the details.
And maybe they call another unit if needed. For example, we need the traffic unit here. Or let's call the canine unit. The word unit makes everything sound very professional.
It really does. And notice how officer speech is usually clear and short. They use short sentences, direct vocabulary, and precise verbs.
Yes, and a phrase we didn't mention yet is on duty. When a police officer is on duty, they are working. When they are off duty, they are not working. Very simple, but very common.
And another everyday expression is backup. If a police officer needs help from more officers, they call for backup. In simple English, more people to help.
We also hear responding officer. That is the officer who goes to the place to handle the situation.
And case number. Every event has a number so they can organize their reports.
Let's extend our little scenario again. Imagine the officers finish the parking issue, write the report, and then patrol a bit more. While driving, dispatch calls again.
Dispatch might say, "We need a responding officer for a minor traffic accident near the downtown intersection." Minor means small, not serious. Intersection means the place where two streets cross.
The officers go to the intersection, talk to the drivers, check their license and registration, take photos as evidence, and complete another report.
And maybe they call the traffic unit if the road is blocked. Everything is professional, calm, and routine.
I think learners sometimes imagine police work as only dramatic moments, but most of it is communication, community work, documentation, and problem solving. Vocabulary like report, respond, patrol, and witness appears in all kinds of situations.
And that's why we're presenting everything naturally. We want listeners to understand not only the words, but the feeling of how they're used.
And speaking of communication, one big part of the job is keeping people calm. Police officers talk to people who might be stressed or confused. They use simple, clear language to help them feel safe.
Which is great English practice for learners, too. If you can communicate calmly, you're already winning.
True. And something else we should mention is the word uniform. Police officers usually wear a uniform, clothes that show they are part of the police force.
And the police car, also called a patrol car, is another everyday term. Sometimes people just say cruiser, especially in the U.S.
In Canada, we say cruiser too sometimes, but patrol car is super common. And those lights on top are called sirens or emergency lights.
And when you hear the siren, you know something is happening because the officers are responding to a call.
That brings me to one more expression, public safety. Police officers work to protect public safety, meaning the safety of everyone in the community.
All of these words are useful not only for understanding police work, but for general English because they appear in news, shows, articles, and conversations.
Absolutely. And before we keep going deeper into the profession, let's anchor all this vocabulary naturally in your mind by keeping the conversation going smoothly, the same way we always do. You know, something interesting about police work is how many small routines happen every single day. For example, at the start of a shift, a police officer usually checks their equipment. Shift just means their work period. Some shifts are during the day, some are at night. And checking equipment means making sure the radio works, the flashlight has batteries, the uniform is in order, and everything is prepared.
Right, and that flashlight is actually super important. Many people imagine it's only for nighttime, but officers use flashlights during the day too, like when they need to look under a car, check a dark hallway, or inspect a small space. A police flashlight is strong and very reliable.
And speaking of equipment, we didn't talk about the word belt. Police officers use a duty belt. It's the belt where they carry important tools. In simple English, it's the belt with pockets and holders for different pieces of equipment.
And that equipment can include gloves, a radio, a flashlight, handcuffs, and sometimes other tools, depending on their unit. One thing many learners misunderstand is that not everything on the duty belt is for dangerous situations. A lot of it is for communication or safety checks.
Exactly. And handcuffs, by the way, are the metal restraints officers use when they need to detain someone. Detain means to temporarily stop and hold a person while checking information or investigating what happened. It doesn't automatically mean arrest. Many learners think detain equals arrest, but they're different.
Good point. Arrest means the person is taken into custody for breaking the law, but detain is just to hold them temporarily for checking or questioning. Police officers often explain this clearly to people so they don't get confused or scared.
Another word that is central to police communication is procedure. A procedure is a specific way to do something that keeps everyone safe. Police officers follow procedures for almost everything: traffic stops, interviews, reports, emergencies.
Procedures help officers stay organized. They also help them communicate clearly between departments. For example, if an officer calls another unit, they know exactly what to expect thanks to the common procedures.
And sometimes procedures include code language. We're not going to use actual police codes, but listeners might have heard 10-4 in movies. In everyday English, 10-4 just means I understand. It's like saying, okay, got it.
That's right. And even though real police codes vary by region, the idea is the same: clear, fast communication. And fast communication is essential when officers receive multiple calls from dispatch.
The number of calls can be surprising. Some shifts are calm, but others are full of constant movement. A police officer might respond to a noise complaint, then a minor accident, then a lost item report, and then a call to check someone's well-being.
Yes, well-being check is a nice expression. It's when police officers go to a person's home to make sure they're safe because a neighbor, family member, or friend is worried. It's a very human part of police work that people don't talk about enough.
Absolutely. And another human part of the job is giving assistance. Assistance just means help. Police officers assist people in all kinds of situations: tourists who are lost, kids who lost something, seniors who need help crossing a busy street, people involved in small conflicts.
Which is why communication skills are so important. Police officers often use calm, slow, clear instructions. Something like, "Please stay here," or "Tell me what happened," or "Do you have your ID?"
And ID just means identification, like a driver's license or an official document with your name and photo.
Another tool that helps with communication is the body camera, which some police departments use. It records video during interactions to protect everyone, officers and the public. Not every region uses them, but the word is common in English now.
And when we're talking about investigating something, a useful verb is interview. Police officers interview witnesses, meaning they ask questions to understand what happened. The word interview here doesn't mean a job interview. It just means a conversation to collect information.
Something else that comes up a lot on the job is paperwork. People imagine police officers driving fast and chasing someone. But honestly, paperwork is a big part of the job. Officers write reports, fill forms, update case numbers.
And we should explain the word incident. An incident is any event that officers respond to. It can be big or small. A lost item is an incident, a noise complaint is an incident, a traffic accident is an incident.
That word complaint is another good one. A complaint is when someone calls to report a problem or disturbance. For example, there's loud music, or my neighbor's dog is barking nonstop.
Police officers also help with crowd control, which means helping groups of people stay safe during events, maybe a parade, a festival, a marathon. Officers direct traffic, guide people, and prevent confusion.
And they often use the word barricade. A barricade is something that blocks a road or path temporarily. It could be cones, tape, or a metal barrier. Officers place barricades to protect people during events or emergencies.
Speaking of emergencies, a very important word is first aid. Police officers often receive basic first aid training. First aid means simple medical help you give before professionals arrive. Things like stopping small bleeding, checking breathing, or helping someone stay calm.
Which makes the job more dynamic. One moment you're writing a report, and the next you're helping someone who fell or fainted. A police officer never knows exactly what will happen.
And yet, the routines create stability. For example, after an incident, officers often clear the area. It means they make sure the area is safe, check for hazards, and confirm that people can continue their activities.
And they might notify dispatch. Area is clear. Short, simple communication.
Something I find interesting is how officers talk to each other inside the patrol car. It's always half work, half conversation. They might talk about plans for lunch, then suddenly switch to a call on the radio.
Very true. And in the U.S., you hear the phrase en route or en route, meaning the officers are on the way to a location. Canadians use it too, but I feel Americans say it more casually.
And the difference in pronunciation sometimes makes it sound like two separate words, but listeners should know it just means on the way.
Let's bring more vocabulary into a natural scenario again. Imagine two officers driving near a residential area. Residential area means a neighborhood where people live. They're talking about their shift while staying alert.
Suddenly, they receive a call about a person who might be missing. They check the details, respond quickly, and go to the last known location. The last known location means the last place someone saw the person.
When they arrive, they talk to family members or neighbors, ask questions, and begin organizing a small search. They check security cameras, which many houses and stores have nowadays.
Yes, security camera is another good phrase. It's the camera that records video for safety. In simple English, it's a camera used to watch an area.
The officers organize the search, coordinate with other units, and contact dispatch with updates. Update means new information.
And eventually, maybe they find the person safe and sound. Safe and sound is a common expression meaning completely safe. Police officers use it often in reassuring situations.
After that, they complete a report, thank the community for helping, and continue their shift. It's a great example of community collaboration. Collaboration means working together.
Another everyday part of the job is communication with drivers. Officers often use simple gestures, a hand signal to stop, a signal to continue, a motion to turn left or right. They also use a whistle sometimes.
And they need to stand in the middle of traffic during those moments, so their uniform usually has reflective materials to help drivers see them clearly. Reflective means it shines when light hits it.
And they often carry cones, those orange traffic cones, to guide cars. Cones are great because they're light, bright, and easy to move.
Something learners often hear in English is secure the scene. This means police officers arrive somewhere and make sure the area is safe before doing anything else.
Yes, securing the scene includes checking for hazards, controlling traffic, talking to witnesses, and controlling access to the area. Access just means the ability to enter.
And if officers need help, they call for backup or call other units like the traffic unit, investigation unit, or K-9 unit.
And we should explain one more phrase, statement. A statement is when somebody tells the police what they saw or heard. Police officers write these statements into their reports.
And sometimes they advise. To advise means to give information or guidance. Officers advise people about safety, rules, or procedures.
Another word that's common is escort. Police officers sometimes escort vehicles or people. For example, escorting an ambulance, a large truck, or a VIP. Escort here just means guiding and protecting.
And since we're talking about vocabulary that appears everywhere, we should mention investigation. An investigation is the process of trying to understand what happened in a situation.
And officers gather evidence, talk to witnesses, check cameras, and write reports to complete the investigation. It's a big part of the job.
But so much of the profession is also prevention. Officers work to prevent problems before they happen, and that's where patrol, communication, visibility, and community work all connect.
Definitely. And the way they talk to people makes a huge difference. Using calm tone, simple instructions, and clear explanations is a powerful tool.
And speaking of talking, let's imagine another small natural moment. The officers finish one call and stop at a gas station for a quick water break. A teenager walks up and says they lost their wallet. The officers listen, ask questions, and help them check where they last saw it.
They might check security cameras at the store, if they're allowed, and help the teen file a lost item report. They give the teen information about how to contact the station if someone turns in the wallet later.
And then they continue with the rest of their shift, ready for whatever comes next. Police work is dynamic, full of new interactions, constant movement, and endless communication.
And all of this vocabulary comes directly from these everyday tasks. That's why we place the words naturally into conversations and practical scenarios. It makes learning real.
And listeners can connect the vocabulary to real experiences, even if they never work as police officers.
Exactly. And we're keeping everything smooth and natural. When I think about everything we've talked about today, I realize how much vocabulary connects directly with real moments police officers go through daily. And something I've always found interesting is how they read situations so fast. They don't just see a scene, they evaluate it instantly. Who's stressed, who might need help, what looks out of place.
Absolutely. Cops are trained to scan an environment in seconds. Scan is a great verb for learners. It means to look around quickly but carefully, identifying details that matter. Police officers scan rooms, streets, buildings, and they develop that ability because it helps them stay safe and keep others safe.
And sometimes scanning involves noticing tiny things, a door slightly open, a broken window, fresh footprints, a bicycle left in a strange spot. Police officers learn to connect these little clues.
Clue is essential vocabulary. It means a piece of information that helps you understand what happened. Clues are everywhere, on the ground, in the way objects are positioned, in the way people speak.
And that reminds me of the phrase, to piece things together. It means to combine information to understand the full story.
Exactly. And this kind of thinking is important not only for detectives, but for patrol officers too. You never know when a simple call becomes something bigger.
True, and even the communication part is full of vocabulary. For example, dispatch. Dispatch is the person or team who sends officers to different calls. They say things like, Unit 12, respond to a noise complaint, or Unit 5, medical emergency on 4th Street.
Respond is another key verb. In policing, to respond means to go to the location of the call. And when officers arrive, that's called arrival on scene.
And then they assess, which means to evaluate what's happening. And if someone is hurt, officers may provide first aid, like we mentioned earlier.
And they might call for backup, which means asking for more officers. And if the situation is calm, they might just take a report.
Reports are so important. They're documents officers write to record incidents in detail. Time, location, people involved, actions taken.
And writing a good report is an essential skill. Clear, objective, accurate. They can't guess. Everything must be based on facts.
Speaking of facts, one of my favorite pieces of vocabulary in policing is witness. A witness is someone who saw the event. Officers ask witnesses questions to understand what really happened.
And they need to know how to ask questions in a calm and respectful way. Things like, what did you see? What time was that? Which direction did he go? Clear, simple, focused.
And communication doesn't happen only with witnesses. Officers work with firefighters, paramedics, security guards. They're always coordinating with other professionals.
Coordinate is another good verb. To coordinate means to work together, share information, and plan actions so everyone knows what to do.
And teamwork in policing is huge. For example, when two officers enter a building together, they move as a unit. One checks the left, the other checks the right. They trust each other completely.
And that type of cooperation builds over time. Officers train together, practice together, and share tough moments together. That creates strong bonds.
And part of this teamwork involves using equipment responsibly. We've already mentioned radios, handcuffs, patrol cars, but we can go deeper. For instance, body cam, short for body camera, a small camera attached to the uniform to record interactions.
Yes, and the phrase on duty is important too. If the officer is working, they're on duty. If they're off duty, they're not working.
And their shift, meaning the work period, morning shift, afternoon shift, night shift, police schedules can be intense.
And night shift brings unique vocabulary. Darkness, visibility, flashlight, alley, curfew, disturbance. Each word describes something officers deal with.
And the situations change a lot from day to night. During the day, you might get calls about traffic, noise, lost items, disputes. At night, maybe more emergencies, suspicious activity, or people needing help because they feel unsafe.
Suspicious activity is a good phrase. It means something unusual that might indicate a problem.
And the key thing is that officers never assume guilt. They just investigate, gather facts, and decide what action is appropriate.
And that reminds me of the concept of de-escalation. It means reducing tension in a stressful situation. Officers use calm voices, simple instructions, and non-threatening body language.
And non-threatening is great vocabulary. It means something that doesn't cause fear.
Another important area where vocabulary appears naturally is traffic stops. Officers say things like license, registration, pull over, speeding, seatbelt, violation, warning.
Yes, and pull over literally means move the car to the side of the road and stop.
And violation means breaking a rule.
All these words build a realistic picture of what officers do every day. And something I really respect is how much emotional control the job requires.
Definitely. You never know what type of person you'll meet. Someone scared, angry, confused, injured. Officers need to adapt.
Adapt means to adjust your behavior to different situations, and police officers adapt constantly.
And they also rely on something called situational awareness. It means understanding what's happening around you at all times.
I think everyone could benefit from that skill, honestly. Paying attention to your surroundings is useful in any profession.
Totally. And in policing, it can save lives.
And as we continue exploring vocabulary, I think it's helpful to connect everything with one more natural scenario. Imagine an officer driving during a quiet morning.
Suddenly, dispatch calls with a welfare check.
Great phrase. A welfare check is when officers go to see if someone is safe because a neighbor, friend, or family member is worried.
So the officer arrives, knocks on the door, listens, observes. Maybe the person simply fell asleep with their phone off. But officers treat every welfare check seriously because it can save someone in danger.
And after that, they might respond to a shoplifting call, or help with a traffic collision, or assist a family in a stressful argument.
Assist means help. Officers assist people all day long.
And all those interactions create new vocabulary opportunities: statement, evidence, suspect, property damage, emergency lights, crowd control, protocol, procedure.
And by hearing these words in context, learners don't just memorize them, they understand how they're used in natural conversation.
Which is exactly what makes this podcast fun. We're not just giving vocabulary, we're making it feel real.
And firefighters, doctors, plumbers, All professions have serious responsibilities, but police officers deal directly with people's emotions, safety, confusion, fear, relief.
Relief is a beautiful word. It means the feeling of calm after stress.
And many times, officers are the first ones to bring that relief.
And before we wrap things up today, I think it's helpful to revisit the main vocabulary in a natural flow, just so everything feels connected for listeners.
Absolutely. Words like patrol, dispatch, witness, clue, evidence, scan, assess, backup, report, welfare check, violation, de-escalation.
And all the situations we talked about: traffic stops, emergencies, investigations, community support.
And of course, the emotional side, staying calm, building trust, reading situations, coordinating with partners.
All of these are central to understanding what police officers do and how their vocabulary works in real contexts.
And if you, our listener, enjoyed learning with us today, there's a simple way to keep growing your English with every new episode.
Yes, your support really helps the project grow and brings more learners into our community.
If you enjoyed today's episode, follow the podcast, hit the like button, and tell us in the comments which profession you want us to talk about next.
And thank you for spending time with us today. It's always great learning together. It really is. See you next time, everyone.
Take care and talk to you soon.